Okay, so right now you're wearing something, a shirt, a jacket, maybe some jeans. But have you ever really looked at it? I mean, all the tiny little components holding it together? Well, we're about to peel back the fabric and dive into the hidden world of your clothes. Go on, take a look. See that zipper, those buttons, that little tag on the inside? They seem so simple, but each one is a piece of a much bigger puzzle in the fashion world. And here's the thing, they all have specific names and purposes that, honestly, most of us get mixed up all the time. Okay, so look at this. On the left, you've got items like zippers, buttons, and labels. And on the right, things like hangers, poly bags, and price tags. So what's the real fundamental difference between these two groups? The answer, well, the answer is the key to understanding how your clothes are actually made and sold. Ready for the answer? We're about to clear up one of the most common points of confusion in the entire clothing industry. Seriously, in the next minute or so, you're going to learn a super simple rule to tell these two categories apart forever. First up, we have what are called trimmings, or just trims for short. Now, the official definition is any material other than the main fabric that is physically attached to the garment by sewing. Think about it. The buttons, the zippers, that little care label inside your shirt, they're all sewn right in. They become a permanent part of the final product that you actually wear. And then, on the other hand, you've got accessories. These are all the items that are not attached by sewing. Their whole job is about finishing, packing, and making the garment look good for sale. This is your hanger, the plastic bag it's packed in, and yeah, that price tag you can't wait to rip off. Okay, so here it is. Here's the simple rule you need to remember. If it stays on the garment when you wear it, it's a trim. If you take it off before you wear it, it's an accessory. That's it. It's that simple. Trims are the functional, built-in parts of the clothing. Accessories are just for show, for presentation. All right, so now that we've got that straight, let's take a closer look at the first major category of trimmings, fasteners. These are really the unsung heroes of our wardrobe, the little bits of hardware that literally hold our outfits together. Let's start with a total classic, the button. I mean, it's the ultimate multitasker, right? Its main job is functional, closing and opening, but it's also a huge decorative element. The right button can completely change the vibe of a shirt or a coat. And here's a little piece of trivia for you. Buttons aren't measured in inches or millimeters. Nope, they're measured in something called linné. It's this old French unit, and 40 linné is equal to exactly 1 inch. So that button on your shirt, it might be, about 16 linné? Kind of cool, right? Next up, the zipper, a way more complex mechanism. It's a functional trimming made of 2 rows of teeth on these narrow tapes, and they get joined together by a slider. You see them everywhere. Jackets, pants, bags, you name it. And trust me, getting one sewn in perfectly takes a very, very skilled operator. And then there are hook and loop fasteners, which, let's be honest, we all just call Velcro. Their big advantage is that they're just so easy to use. That's why they're great for kids' clothes or for anyone who might have trouble with tiny buttons. The downside, though, they can be a little bulky, and you know how they lose their grip once they get all clogged up with dust and lint? Okay, so fasteners are all about function, but other trimmings are purely about giving you information. You can almost think of the labels and tags on your clothes as a direct message from the manufacturer, like a tiny little instruction manual sewn right in for you. All right, first things first, let's get our terms right here. A label is attached inside the garment, and it gives you information. The size, what it's made of, how to wash it. A motif, on the other hand, is on the outside. It's purely for looks. Think of an embroidered logo or a brand name. So, speaking of labels, they have what can feel like a secret code on them, right? But I promise, once you learn the basics, you'll be able to read the language of laundry like a total pro. So, you ready to crack the code? It really all comes down to 5 main symbols that are used all over the world. The little cub means washing, the triangle means bleaching, the square is for drying, the iron is, well, obviously for ironing, and that circle is for dry cleaning. If you can just master these 5 basic shapes, you're honestly halfway there. But here's where it gets really clever. Tiny little details completely change what these symbols mean. So a plain tub just means machine wash, but add dots inside, and that tells you the water temperature. And see those lines underneath? They tell you about the spin cycle. 1 line for permanent press, 2 lines for a gentle cycle. It's a surprisingly detailed little system. Let's just look at the temperature system for washing. 1 dot, that means cold, around 30 Celsius. 2 dots means warm, which is about 40 Celsius or 105 Fahrenheit. The rule is super simple. The more dots you see, the hotter the water can be. It's basically a visual guide to stop you from accidentally shrinking your favorite sweater. So we know what trims are, but why do they matter so much? Well, because when it comes to a quality piece of clothing, the little things aren't just little things. They are literally everything. This quote here really just says it all. The life of the trims has to match the life of the garment. I mean, what good is a beautiful coat if the zipper breaks after just one season? Or a shirt if the buttons crack in the wash? A garment is only as strong as its weakest trim. This is a huge issue in fast fashion, where one cheap part can make an otherwise good piece of clothing totally unwearable. And that's exactly why high-quality brands obsess over a checklist for their trimmings. First, they've got to be durable. Second, they can't shrink and cause that awful puckering you sometimes see at the seams. Third, their color can't fade or bleed onto the fabric. Fourth, any metal parts have to be rust-proof. And finally, and this is a big one, they can't be uncomfortable or irritate your skin. And just like that, you've learned to see your clothes in a completely new way. You know the difference between a trim and an accessory, and you can even decode that secret language of laundry. So I'll leave you with one final thought. The next time you get dressed, what hidden details are you going to notice?